Welcome back, you beautiful souls. Unfortunately, my voice, like doing all of these like Halloween specials, like getting those videos recorded, the ones that actually got released on Halloween, has kind of messed with my throat a little bit. Some of you may be thinking I have the Kufid, the coof, and I don't. Like, I'm totally safe. It's just when you constantly do really good low voices, ow, it can really like strain your vocal cords. And those recordings weren't like the first iterations. Those are like some those are like episode, like part 0 of the werewolf one. That took me like 3 tries before I got it. I felt comfortable with it, which is why I got really upset that it got cut out in certain parts. So that being said, welcome back to what if Deku gained a Klyntar, and some of you should already realize what this is. It's what if Deku had a symbiote, and so many of you like have asked me about what's so special about this. Well, one commenter, some of you would be able to find it really fast, was saying that it would be weak. I wanted to explain something and like actually go over it. So because Toxin was able to do a true symbiosis with Izuku, which is something Toxin hasn't been able to do since his first host. When they are in hero mode, like they are like full on, like full on Klyntar mode. Well, almost the full Klyntar mode. When they're like pretty much like full hero mode, they refer to themselves as I. When they're not in hero mode, and it's you and me, because they still do have their separate personalities, but their minds have melded. It's like they can't really hide their emotions. They are able to keep certain memories separate because personal boundaries. So in the last part we left off, Izuku found out that All Might actually knew who Toxin was, because when Izuku, he started to see memories that Toxin had of actually meeting All Might a couple of times and seeing him on like video. So Toxin's host during that time when All Might was in the States was dying. They were reaching the end of their life. And Toxin was scouting out like potential hosts, and he saw like they saw news vids of All Might like in the U.S. and everything. And the day that All Might met David Shield, he actually approached All Might they approached All Might to see what his character was, because he seemed like he'd be strong enough to carry the symbiote for several decades. And if there was a perfect symbiosis, then there wouldn't be any strain on the host themselves, because it does put strain on their bodies. So, by luck and unlucky, All Might, Toxin never made it to All Might after his old host had passed. So they spent the day. So with the little bit of that backstory out and everything, we'll cut to our story. So where we left off, Izuku got One for All at the 7-month mark, which gives him 3 months of combat training and actually getting used to using the quirk. And because Toxin, with a few hosts before, have had run-ins with previous users of the quirk, which after seeing, like, being near All Might and being able to smell the dude, he can smell something similar, like a similar scent coming off of him. He will do nice. I did think at one time that person would have been a good host, but this man seems like the best kind of host I could have. Strong, powerful. We could do very good things together. So, in this, after catching up, and Toxin apologizing about him not getting like a better means of transportation, kind of joking, it's like, maybe I should have gotten a flight to Japan instead, and I wouldn't have nearly died. But luckily, Izuku here found me. So, after talking, Izuku gets home that evening, and Inko's there, and she's prepared like a meal, and Toxin kind of pops his head out, and he's like, Mother, the food looks good today. Steak. Like, with his tongue, like, licking, and Inko just cringing. It's like, well, I couldn't have my boys, like, going hungry now, could I? Because at this point, after a couple of months of this, Inko, she's not dumb. She basically confronted the two. And Toxin explained himself and apologized for forcing the boy to lie to her. But Toxin then says, but I wasn't lying to you. I kind of telling what lie. I am kind of a quirk, though. But I'm bonded with your son. I will make sure that he stays safe. Inko, Midoriya. Well, I should probably call you Mother, considering me and Izuku have a symbiotic relationship now. And he doesn't go into the full story, but assures Inko that him and Izuku are pretty much one and the same now. Like, what hurts him won't hurt Izuku. Well, what hurts him could kill Izuku. Because in this, I'm going to give him, like, fire resistance, not fire immunity. He will have Sonic. Sonics could still screw with him, basically make it really hard for him to, like, move around and operate and everything. But that's for, like, future things. So, in Izuku's mind, like, Toxin says, she really is, Mother. Sorry I forced you to lie to her, Izuku. When Izuku says, it's fine, she already said that it's okay, and she understands. She's still a little creeped out, though. Well, most of my host's families in the past, when they found out my true nature, they were horrified and basically tried to have me removed from them, which led to a couple of times. I don't want to talk about it. And Izuku says, is that those faded out memories? And Deku says, yes. Very sad moments in my life I don't want to discuss or have you deal with the pain of the loss. Every single time one of you dies, unlike your family, I actually feel the death. I've now experienced, what is it? 7 deaths in my life. And, well, you will be my 8th, Izuku. But I'm going to make sure that's not a premature one. Like my last host, who lived a long life. I'm going to make sure that you live it too. And with that nifty quirk we gained from All Might, we will be a grand hero. We'll be able to do things more than any other my host was able to do in the past. For now, let's get something. Let's eat. I've been starving. And even though your pancreas has been looking tasty, I refuse to eat my host. So, with that, Izuku, Inko, in Toxin, well, Inko, Toxin, and Izuku sit down and, they begin to eat. Izuku basically, Toxin, he can directly eat the food, or he can just absorb it from Izuku's digestive tract. So, Izuku's eating it, and then, Toxin's tasty. And then Izuku just kind of takes a fork into, one of the steaks and lifts it up to, Toxin's, actual mouth. And Toxin physically eats himself. Oh, this tastes even better. So, they have a nice little, evening meal. Izuku then, tells his mother that he's going to be coming home late after school's done. He's going to really, he says, me and Toxins have got to really train to get into UA, Mom. I want to train my actual quirk. And she's like, oh, you really do have a quirk then? And Izuku's like, yeah, Toxin's been able to bring it to the 4th one. It really was dormant, kinda, but we have to learn to control the power. And she says, Toxin, you better make sure my boy stays safe, okay? Will do, Mother, will do. Just keep providing me with this delicious food. Oh, this food is amazing. Right, Izuku? And he says, yeah, Mom, it's been really good. It's been giving us plenty of energy. And this makes Inko, when she initially found out what Toxin actually was, she was mortified and a little pissed off that that Izuku lied to her, but she understands. So, and the reason why All Might said that the two should actually over these months, these are conversations, and this is towards the end, and I'll go over training. I'm going back and forth in these 3 months, kind of doing flashbacks of the training and everything. But this is towards getting really close to the entrance exam. I'm going to say this is within the last month or so. because like, the conversation basically was like he's going to be training a lot, and then after he gets done training, he's going to be going to the library, and he may be getting home late soon. So Inko tells Toxin to make sure her baby is safe and that he gets home safely. And Toxin obviously says, obviously, like what I said before. So this night, Izuku is like sitting up in his room, and Toxin's like, "So what are we gonna do about that Katsuki kid? He's been bullying you a lot. I could totally stop him from it." And Izuku's like, "No, it's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine." Excuse me. So Izuku, they finish up studying for the night, and Izuku goes to sleep. And then he has a dream. A dream about a skinny white-haired man who seems very sickly. And he hears a familiar voice. He's like, "So, your brother? He really is evil. I'm sorry you had to go through all of that. I wish I could have been with you instead of him. But I will see you later." And Toxin is asleep at this, and this is one of his repressed memories. Yes, Toxin has in the past had run-ins with a couple of previous users. The most notable one was the first one. So some weird things will happen with Izuku and Toxin when the vestiges start showing their face. More so with Toxin, because he will, in a sense, see an old friend that he hasn't seen in a couple hundred years. So, yeah. So, Izuku wakes up and he questions Toxin about it. He's like, "I'm not gonna talk about that, Izuku. That's something for me and me alone. One day I may feel comfortable letting you know. I've gotta keep those mental blocks up, even while we sleep. I'm sorry you had to see some of those images." And Izuku says, "It's fine, but it really has made me think, Toxin, that how lucky I am." Toxin's like, "Oh, how so?" "Well, out of all the people in the world, I'm the one that got you, and I am a little weirded out by you at times, and I was really scared, but I understand now. You're really a good person." And Deku hears silence for a couple of minutes, and Mizuki's like, Did I say something wrong?" In his head, like, this conversation's happening in his head, and Toxin, like, finally replies, "No, it's just not since my first host did someone ever call me a good person. And, well, there was that spider guy at one time." And Izuku's like, "Wait, spider guy?" And Izuku's like, "Why does that sound familiar?" And then his eyes go wide, and he runs. He jumps out of bed and runs over to a cabinet, and he, like, goes through all of his notebooks and everything. And Toxin's like, "What is it, Izuku? What did I say? Did I say something wrong?" "No, you said spider guy." And, well, are you talking about a legendary hero that existed hundreds and hundreds of years ago? Like, many, many years before even quirks were thought to exist? And Toxin's like, "Crap.
Yes, I do know him. And, well, my first host, he kind of, before his brain injury, he, called me a nice person. And, well, even the spider guy called me a nice guy. I was hunted for a bit. But that's why I don't want to share all my memories with you, Izuku. And it's the reason why I don't pry into your own mind. Unless I need to. Well, there are certain things that, let's just say, will make you blush if I even bring them up.
Like, Izuku's like, not that. Toxin's like,
Yeah, but she was beautiful.
kind of poking Izuku a little bit.
So, what's on the docket today? Are we going to be having combat training with the All Might? Or are we going to just hit the library today? You do know, you don't really need to study. You have me. And my memories of hero knowledge and how the world works. I can give you access and tell you answers.
And Izuku's like, no offense, Toxin, but I want to do this on my... This is something I want to do on my own. I appreciate everything you and All Might's been doing for me. And, well, thank you for the...
Muscles. Yes, about that. Last night I, noticed that you were, how should we say, small. Decided to give you a little bit of a boost. Especially after that delicious steak you handed me, and all the nutrients we've been eating lately. I'm almost to the point where I can do a full body suit completely and even go into the higher form. Well, if you don't need I'm gonna take a nap now. I'll be here if you need me, Izuku.
As they get to the library. So Izuku, he goes by and he picks up, like, different books on, like, quirks and laws and everything. Because Toxin has pointed out to him that he needs to learn more about the world than just, like, heroes and, like, quirks. He needs to not be so focused in anal about writing down every little detail, because occasionally Izuku gets into, like, his mumbling fits, and Toxin kind of brings him out of it. So a week passes of Izuku doing this, going to the library, and Toxin's like,
I memorized all this, but the boy, he keeps having to go over things. We did agree to keep certain memories apart from each other. It'd be so much easier if we just truly became one, but my host's will is their will. Whatever they want, I will go along with it. But I will not become a bad guy. If it came down to it, I will actually kill my host to find another. But I won't eat them. But I am not going... I don't think I have anything to fear with this one. He really is a hero at heart. More so than that Toshi guy. I'm happy.
So the week passes, and Izuku finally meets back up with All Might. And All Might, like, says, "Yo, how's my favorite students doing?" And Izuku's like, "All my students? Oh, yeah, me and Toxin. That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I get that. So, what are you going to be teaching us today? All Might? Well, young Midoriya, I actually wanted to talk to you. There's very little that I can actually show you. I just wanted to bring you somewhere so we can really test out the strength of your quirk. And Izuku's like, but it's your quirk. And All Might puts his finger up, and he's like, no, young man, it's your quirk now. You and Toxin have to grow it now. I wish I would be. I hope one day I'll be able to see the person that you choose to pass the quirk down onto in the evolution that it takes after, well, being in your body and sharing it with Toxin. My original plan, once I heard about what Toxin was to maybe one day pass both the quirk and Toxin down to a successor. And quite frankly, when I saw him, I didn't recognize it at first, but Toxin, your voice is very, very unique.
And Toxin goes, yes, I decided to talk like this. Somewhat of a remnant of my lineage, but
if I want, I can pretty much disguise myself and talk however I want, young Toshinori. But I don't like using voices. It reminds me too much of my previous hosts.
That's why I use my more symbiote voice and everything.
Understandable. So, are you ready, young man? Follow me. As the two jump off. And heroes aren't going to stop Izuku because they initially do, but then they see who he's following and they're like, oh, okay. Wow, that kid's very lucky. I wish I would be able to train with the number one hero. So they make their way, and Izuku realizes where they're at. Yes, I'm bringing it to a training ground at UA because All Might can't really let loose, to say. So they do, and they get into their fighting stance, and All Might says, come at me with everything you have with that quirk, Izuku. And Izuku's like, All Might, I still break my bones sometimes. Well then, go to your max percent. And Izuku in his mind is like, Toxin, how much power can we withstand right now? And Toxin says,
well, with all the healing and repairing and strengthening I did last night, you should be able to handle at least 15% with no lingering effects. Though I wouldn't go too far above that. It would make my job a lot harder.
So Izuku then he powers up one frog in his arm, and Toxin says,
you idiot, I told you, don't use the quirk like that. Let it flow through your whole body.
And Izuku says, right. And Izuku powers it back down, and Noman's like, are you afraid, young man? And Izuku says, no, I can't. And then All Might begins to think, he keeps switching it off and turning it on. Why isn't Toxin told him to just leave it on? They should definitely be able to withstand the constant flow of it. And All Might, he begins to suspect that, and then he thinks, and it's like, wait, Toxin did say he wants Izuku to learn some things on his own. And All Might begins to smile, and he's like, I see what you've been doing, Toxin. All Might can kind of hear a laugh.
You finally figured it out, Tushy. The boy hasn't figured it out yet either.
And Izuku's like, what?
Remember what I said. Let the power flow through your body. I said let it flow through your body.
And Izuku is pondering this, and he's like, huh? Flow through my body. And Izuku's like, wait, I've been using this wrong. I've been thinking about it as something that I need to turn on or off, instead of letting it just exist. Kind of like, oh my god, I've been such an idiot. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Right. And Izuku gets in a stance and he powers up. One for all, full cow. And sparks initially spark around his body, and then like lightning is coursing around his arms and legs and everything. And Izuku's like, whoa. And he looks up and he's like, oh my, is this what you feel like when you are in full power? Whoa, what happened to my voice? And then Izuku like notices his arms and he's like, whoa, Toxin, what is this? And Toxin's like,
see, I told you, let the power flow through your whole body. Don't limit it to one portion. What I've been able to do on my own is, well, limited, and it's more forceful. But you can draw our power out entirely, and with that quirk, you're able to. You exceeded my expectations, young Izuku. Now, give the old man a show.
Right. And All Might like braces himself. He's like, whoa. Even All Might's a little impressed at this.
But remember, Izuku, don't go over 15% too much. It would still harm your body. I may be able to fix it, but it would hurt like hell. And quite frankly, I'm tired of feeling your bones break, okay?
Okay, Toxin. So Izuku goes into with a full 15% like smash, and then follows it up with a kick. All Might catches it. He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa! That was 15%. You said that was 15%?
Yes, well, actually, his punch was 17% and his kick was 14%.
And Izuku's like, what? I didn't even realize I could do that. And he's sitting there. And Izuku, like, finally, like, after, like, their sparring match, he sits, like, All Might and him are, like, standing there, and Izuku, like, powers down. Not turning the quirk off, but powering down a little bit. Kind of like when, like, he's not going full throttle. Like, the electricity stops forming around his body. Sorry about that. So the electricity isn't surrounding his body. It's kind of receded, and it actually sits inside of his body. But then Izuku's like, he says, Toxin, what's going on with my body? I'm not as small as I was before. And this is when, like, the little symbiote head comes out of his shoulder, and he's like,
well, Izuku, you finally unlocked it. Your full potential as a host. And, well, now that you have, I've been dropping hints with the quirk. It was a little incentivized the first time. Now, to explain your abilities, you're holding that quirk within inside your body, and you're letting it flow throughout your entire body all at once. Just like Toshinori over there. When he's using the quirk, his body bulks up. You're containing what little energy you're using inside your body. Anything over 8%, you'll see the electricity form around your body. As we get old, you and me, get older, we'll be able to contain more and more of the power within inside of our body. But for now, the electricity is going to be a slight side effect for a while. But don't worry, that will soon subside in, I would say, a few years. But for now, I'm a little hungry, but I'm going to go to bed. I trust you can get home by yourself now.
So, this whole time, Toxin has been telling him to let the power flow through his whole body. It's been a twofold thing. Before he goes, and he's like,
Toshinori, you figured it out, didn't you? Why I wasn't telling him how to use the quirk.
And Mike just kind of chuckles. I didn't realize it until Izuku started to power up, and I realized what you had been doing. And you say I don't explain things properly.
Well, sometimes people have got to figure things out for themselves. I can't be holding his hand all the time. I mean, doing certain repairs
Izuku feels like a sharp pain in his side.
You broke one of your ribs the last time. You powered up a little too much when All Might punched you. But not to worry. Simple fix. That's why I'm a little tired. Well, in any case, I'm truly going to take a nap now.
So All Might and Izuku have a conversation, and Izuku's just looking down at himself. So he's pretty much grown like 3 inches in an instant, and his body is more reminiscent of what Mirio's body looks like. So him and All Might have a conversation, and Izuku begins to ask him, All Might, you once said that that One for All, it was created. How was it exactly created? So All Might does his spiel about how All for One once had a younger brother. And he says that they you already know the story about the quirks combining. But unlike his brother, the younger Shigaraki brother, he was kind-hearted and wanted to stop his brother. He himself didn't have the power. And Izuku says, does All for One have white hair? And All Might's eyes go a little wide, and he asks Izuku, how do you know that? Well, Toxin's gonna kill me for this. And Izuku feels like a sharp pain in his chest, and he's like, ugh, okay, I get it. Okay, Toxin. No need to be a little drama queen. So he explained, he says, well, I saw a bit of Toxin's past, and, well, I think he's met more of us. And All Might's like, what do you mean? And then Izuku says, holders of... Because some people have, started walking by, and All Might's in his small might form. holders. And All Might's eyes go wide, and he's like, Toxin, is that true?
No comment. Izuku, you know it's true.
And, like, he says that in Izuku's head. Well, young man, I no longer have anything to really teach you until the school year starts. I do need to start prepping for, like, classes and everything. And I do need to make a trip back to Tokyo to get some paperwork done at the agency. And, like, appoint a head hero to, like, deal with things in Tokyo while I'm teaching at UA. And Izuku's like, yeah, that's right, you are going to be a teacher there. Well then, keep up your studies and keep training. Toxin, I know you're napping, but I know you can hear this because you're tied to Izuku's mind.
God damn it, we should have probably not even told him about that. Oh well. But
So All Might then, like, he leans in and he says, Take care of him, Izuku. I know he may seem a little brash, but when I spoke to him, I could tell there was something different about him when I first met him. And the fact that he doesn't want to let you know about his past, there's probably very good reasons for that. So Izuku, he makes it away to his train station, and Izuku's not thinking about it. He walks into like the house, into like his apartment and his mom's like just about sat down to like eat, and she's like, "Oh, you're home, Izuku. I'll fix your plate now." And then she sees Izuku and she's like, "Izuku, what happened? You didn't look like this when you left this morning." And then Toxin, Izuku's like, "Oh, yeah, Mom, I have something to tell you." And Toxin's like,
yes, mother. Wagyu, my favorite. Yes, Izuku has a lot to say.
and Inko prepares a plate, and then she prepares a separate plate that has a couple of steaks on it. And Toxin is like flips one up and like eats it and is chewing. And Izuku basically explains that he's been using abilities that he gets from Toxin and his quirk wrong, and he finally figured out to like not turn the quirk off, but to limit its power. So, and the side effect is I actually like got bigger. My muscles grew, and well, from what Toxin says, this is pretty much what it would look like in my base form, unless I do this. And he shuts off the quirk, and he gets smaller. Oh, he gets about 25% smaller, and he's just like, Inko's like, I thought you said you were shutting your quirk off, Izuku. And Izuku's like, yes, I did. And Toxin's like,
you're welcome, Izuku. The ladies will like you now. They'll think you're a hunk.
Izuku kind of blushes, and Inko's like, what is it, sweetie? And Izuku's like, nothing, Mom.
You're going to have to give over that gynophobia a little bit, Izuku.
And Izuku rebuttals, it's not a fear, it's just, well, you know. So, like, they finish their meals up. Izuku gets like studies for like the next couple of weeks, and then the day of the entrance exam comes up, and Inko, like, on his way like on his way out, she's like, "Baby, do you got everything? Do you have this? Do you have your gloves? Do you have your boots? Do you have your coat and everything in case it rains? Do you have like the umbrella? And most importantly, do you have..."
Yes, Mother. He has chocolate. Just to set off. Like the urges, just in case I need a boost.
Okay, well, you two be safe. And Toxin, like usual, keep him safe. If something happens to where you need to get him out of a situation, you do it. I don't care if you have to break your own values and codes. Your job now is to keep my baby safe, above everything else.
Yes, Mother, I know. Don't worry, Izuku will be taken care of.
So they make their way on. Izuku is having a conversation with Toxin in his head, and he trips and falls when he gets to UA. And the same thing happens in canon where Uraka makes him float. And Toxin's like,
"Well, her quirk's very interesting. Anti-gravity. Haven't seen that in a while. Haven't seen that in, like, ages. It's actually been over 150 years since the last time I saw someone with a quirk that involved gravity. What? No, actually, it's been 30 years. There was that guy that could fly. That involves gravity somehow. Oh, you think she's cute?"
and Izuku then says, like, "Shut up!" And Uraka's like, "I'm sorry." And Izuku's like, "Oh, no, it wasn't you. My quirk, it kind of has a mind of its own sometimes." And then Uraka just hears this raspy voice.
"My apologies. It was Uraka Ochaka, right? I'm Izuku's partner in crime, so to speak. We are one and the same. It's a pleasure to meet you."
And then Uraka's like, "Oh, so you have one of those sentient quirks, then?" And Izuku kind of laughs, and he's like, "Yeah, you can say that." Because at this point, Izuku, in Toxin's like,
"This is why."
He's explained to Izuku, even if someone comes to like hunt them, they can no longer be separated, and Izuku will be able to handle himself. Not to mention he has Toxin's help, but he also has all for one. He has one for all, which by far breaks Izuku. So he then bumps into someone, and the kid says,
"Damn you! What the hell's your... Deku, what the hell happened to you?"
"Oh, Kachan, well, you see, I'm a late bloomer. My quirk, it came in when I was training for, like, the entrance exams. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but I kind of had to really focus on. I've only had less than a year, like, to use my quirk, so I had to train with it a lot harder than everyone else. And, well, I'm no longer Deku the Useless, okay? I'm going to prove to you that I can be a hero. Whatever, nerd. Even if you're a late bloomer, I'm still stronger than you." So Katsuki, like, runs off, and in his mind, he's like, "Damn, kid wasn't quirkless after all." So Izuku goes in. Things like canon happen, with the exception, Izuku, he's not muttering. He's having a conversation with Toxin in his head, like trying to come over with the battle strategy. Like, what form are they going to take? Are they going to take the Slender? Or it's just like he barely like over? Or are they going to take their buff form? In the thing with Ida where he stands up and points out the robot still happens. And then Toxin's like,
"Yes, hey, Izuku, if that zero point comes, let's test out our strength against it. I'm fairly certain we can take it on, but maybe we shouldn't. It might be too much for you to handle. And I really don't want to have to heal you again.
So things go on and they progress. Izuku then, like, he sees, like, a girl, and he sees Oraka, and she seems a little nervous. So, as he begins to walk over there, Ida goes to grab him, but then, like, a black tendril, like, shoots out and kind of grabs him, and it kind of forms a hand, and then a head comes out, and Toxin says,
You won't touch my Izuku. Now back off. We know that girl. She's nervous. We're going over to calm her nerves. You have nothing to worry about. Ida, was it?
And everyone around him kind of just parts the seas. They're like, oh shit, his quirk, what the hell? And Izuku walks up to Uraka and he says, Ochako, it looks like we're in the same area. And she's like, yeah, I'm a little nervous. And Izuku's like, don't be nervous. Just do your best, and I'm sure you'll get in.
Yes, do your best, Ochako Uraka.
Thanks. You do your best, too.
We will.
Yes, we will. And Izuku then, steps behind her, and Ochako really gets focused in now. Like, she's lost her butterflies, but then everyone sees, what's going on behind her. And Izuku a black liquid begins to envelop Izuku, and then parts of it start turning red, and the classic white eyes start to form. And they are in their slender form, but Izuku grows some claws, and they're like, wow, he's really serious about this. He's powering up before they tell us to go. Wow, what can his quirk do? People are thinking. And as soon as President Mike says go, Ida's out the gate, and everyone just sees Izuku just standing there, kind of cracking his neck, cracking his knuckles. And then after everyone's through the gate, they just see a black and red blur past them. And Ida, Izuku catches up to, Ida, and he's like, Ida, was it? I'm sorry about that. My quirk, it can sometimes have a mind of its own. No harm, no foul, right? We're here to be heroes, correct? And Ida just goes, yeah, and sorry, I didn't realize you knew her. And Izuku's like, yeah, well, do your best out here. Well, in any case, see you later, kid. As, Izuku then, cranks it up, and people just see electricity start forming around his body, as Izuku just lets loose. He's racking up points, and then eventually he hears Toxin. It's like,
Izuku, slow down. Leave some for the rest of them. They've got to have a chance to get into Giwei. You definitely have enough points now to get in. By my calculations, you have at least 60 points.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, let's just go around and make sure people are okay. So, the next few minutes, Izuku is going around, he saved, a few people from getting crushed by some robots or getting too hurt. They start feeling rumbling, and people are starting to run away, and then they see it, the massive zero-pointer. They do begin to step, Izuku and Toxin do begin to, step away, but then they hear it. Help! Help! I'm stuck! And then, Toxin like turns them around, and they see it in Izuku. Like even is thinking this, and then Ida just sees Deku bolt towards the 0 pointer. Before Izuku jumps up, black tendrils like come out and lift the concrete off the girl, picks her up and kind of tosses her, and you just hear, "Ida, catch her!" Because Ida's like, "What?" And then he sees Uraka flying, and Uraka does use her quirk on herself, and Ida like runs to like get underneath her, and Uraka releases her quirk, and Ida kind of catches her, and he sets her down. He sets her down, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I sprained my ankle. What's that kid's quirk?" And Ida's like, "I don't know. Like, I thought you two knew each other. Well, we met earlier today." And then they just hear it. Boom! And they turn their heads to see a massive crater on the ground, and they just see like a lot of electricity around Izuku, as he's bigger than what he was before, and they just see his head morph, and like teeth and fangs begin to form, being more reminiscent of what Venom would look like, but with Toxin's coloration. And he's like,
100% Delaware kick!
As Izuku kicks, like the robot, completely destroying its head and sending it flying back through several buildings. And he lands, does the classic hero pose, land, and then stands up and walks over to Ida and Uraka, in his big Klyntar form, and he goes,
"Are you two okay? Oh, sorry. Toxin, recede. Sorry about that. I kinda get carried away sometimes."
And Toxin starts to recede, and then he goes down to the skinny floor, and then Izuku's like, "Oh wow, that took a lot of me. Are you okay?" As he's looking at Uraka, and Ina and Ochako are just staring at him, and they're like, um, 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 Izuku kind of broke everyone's brains in the testing area, because during their jump, Toxin as they lifted the concrete off of Ochako and threw her to so that she could get out of the way, because many of you be like, why would he just throw her randomly? Well, Toxin and Izuku know she has anti-gravity as her quirk. Ergo, throwing her out of the way was the best situation. They yelled out to Ida to catch her. So Ida's going to get some rescue points for this. Don't worry. We're not going to do our boy Ida dirty and with skipping on some of his points here. But they thought they wanted to show off, and then Izuku Ochako and Ida just kind of point, and Izuku turns around and he goes, and then he turns back around. He's like, I overdid it again, didn't I? Just kind of smile, like a huge grin, like classic, like a classic All Might. And All Might is just in there, like just grinning. He's like, I really did choose the perfect successor. Kid surely has grown in this past 10 months. All Might's thinking. So after the Ochako like gets checked out and everything, Izuku was called up to like the teacher's lounge, and he had a conversation with All Might, and All Might says, you two did that just to show off, didn't you?" And Toxin like starts to say,
Yeah, well, we wanted to test out our strength. And the thing wasn't a living creature, and there was nothing else living behind it besides some plants and, well, some bugs, but it's okay. It was okay, right, Toshi?
and Izuku's like, "Yeah, All Might, we're sorry about like the destruction to the city. Um, we know that a hero's supposed to minimize damage, but that thing was a big threat to everyone else, and we had to end it right there and then. We used a little too much of our full strength, so next time." He hears like a weird fusion of their voices. I'll do better. I'll do better.
I'll do better.
Kind of like both their voices at the same time. And he's like, well, just know that you two are going to be I'm fairly certain I can say this, but you two will be joining UA. There's no doubt in my mind. With that display of power, and he plays something on the screen. Eat a catch! Toxin begins to like laugh.
Yeah, sorry about that. I knew the girl. We knew the girl had a anti-grav quirk. We just had to make sure that someone was there to catch her when she released it.
All Might then laughs. I figured as much. Well, in any case, I'm fairly certain you should be getting home now, Izuku. So, Izuku, he makes it to the front of the, to UA, and there's actually two people there waiting for him. Surprisingly, they asked and they said, well, he's meeting up with the faculty about something. And they thought like it was about like the damage to like the testing area, because it isn't just like the buildings, but part of the wall to the testing area itself was like crumbled. And Izuku then looks like says he hears Toxin say,
Hey, it's the hot girl again. And that guy with the engine legs.
And Izuku's like, Toxin! And so he's like, oh, it's you two again. You were Tinya Ida and
Ochako Uraraka.
like they hear, and Izuku's like, Toxin, come on, how many times I've said, using that voice you'll scare people.
My apologies, but you know my preferences.
And he was like shocked, and he's like, wait, your quirk can talk? And Izuku's like, yeah, well, so what are you two doing here? Well, we wanted to make sure you were okay. Are you in trouble for Uraraka? Like, this is Uraraka, like, are you in trouble for saving me? And Izuku's like, no, they just wanted to tell me that next time, don't go all out, because you could potentially hurt someone that you don't see. They wanted to make sure that I was fine because and Izuku says, I did kind of break my hand. And he shows like some redness on his hand, and it's like, why didn't you have Recovery Girl get that checked?
Because of me. I can kind of heal this idiot sometimes when we overexert ourselves.
And they're shocked by this. Wait, you have your quirk allows you to regenerate? And Izuku says, yeah, kinda. And then he looks at Ochako and he's like, your quirk is anti-gravity, right? And Yada's like, whoa, your quirk's that? That's actually a pretty rare quirk, Ochako? Or Uraka. He would say Uraka because Ochako Uraka. Oh, yeah, Ochako. Yeah, he would say Uraka because he's not on a first name basis, and he and so what Izuku. And so they talk on their way to like the train station, and Ida's like, so what? Why didn't you use your full strength from the beginning? You could have easily surpassed everyone. And Izuku says, well, I didn't want to take all the points for myself, and I wanted to give everyone else a chance. I mean, my goal is to become the #1 hero, but I want to make sure other heroes are there too. You know, there's no point in me being the strongest and leaving everyone else behind. You damn nerd! I heard what you did! What the hell is your quirk? Explain it now! Like, the three of them can be heard, and then they just see Izuku, like, exhale. Gosh, they hear Izuku. As Izuku turns around, he sees Bakugo start to cause an explosion, and Izuku's like, Kachan, it's not that. I really haven't been hiding it from you. It really didn't come in until, like, later.
Yes, you damn idiot. I didn't come in until later. Izuku had the train to unlock me. And if you want to fight,
I will definitely give you a fight. As, like, black liquid begins to form. And Katsuki creates an explosion, which kind of singes, like, Toxin. And Deku, like, actually notices this, and he's like, come. He, like, transforms back down, and he's like, damn it, Kachan, you know using your quirks in public is against the law. What about you, nerd? You just used yours. Yeah, well, I'm a late bloomer, and I don't have complete control over my quirk yet. Whatever. As, like, he just shoves past Izuku. And Ida and Uraka are like, who was that guy? Kachan, we used to be friends when we were a kid, but... And then Uraka's like, wait, he called you a late bloomer. What? So what? You didn't develop your quirk until you were like, what, 7, 8? And Izuku's like, actually, I didn't come into my quirk until about 3 months ago. In both Ida and Uraka's jaws just drop when Izuku says this. And he's like, well, in any case, I should be getting home. Hopefully I'll see... Well, you guys want to meet up sometime? And so they exchange information, and they go about their separate ways. So with that being said, I'm going to leave this part off here. I hope you guys like the interaction that I did with Ochako Ida, kind of starting like that triple friend group early, because I feel with what happened, it would be kind of logical that bit wasn't really scripted, but the bit with Bakugo like confronting Izuku, I did have a fight scene, but I was thinking twice on it as I was getting closer to it, and I figured to improv a little bit and add the Izuku and Ida and Ochako moment where like they become friends a little bit earlier. So my apologies about going off script on that, but let me know what you think in the comment section below. Also, I'm recording this after I put out the poll, and I haven't looked at the results, but if this one wins, the vampire Deku, it would have came out for Halloween special, but the if this one wins, it will be coming out in a month or so, because I do have part 0 scripted, but I can change a few things to add it into my Christmas special lineup, because I only have one series planned for Christmas, and and this would be a good second one, because this one, Vampire Deku, it can be used in either or, just because of how the story develops. But it will be centered around like Rosaria and vampire lore for like a vampire. So that being said, like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.